about boundaries is something that we all have struggled with in our lives and probably still is. It's one of the hardest things often is to say no, because most of us, when we say no, it's because when we finally hit our threshold, when we feel really angry, when we're in that fight instinct, or perhaps we say no when we are in a complete absolute lowest and we've hit that surrendering state and we've had enough. So what if you can find that perfect balance where you can meet in the middle and just say no when you want to and need to? Your biggest problem with boundaries and actually expressing that is to recognize when your boundaries are being overstepped. That often, and especially for me, and I've noticed with my clients and students as well, that's the hardest part, is to actually to recognize when they've been overstepped. Because by the time you get angry, when you start to feel irritated and frustrated, your boundaries have been overstepped a long time ago and you are now in damage control mode. It's almost too late. It's not too late to correct it, but to really start to get into the mode of where you can establish a boundary with grace and ease, that's going to be a little bit harder because you're going to be irritated. And that's then going to set the foundation for potential conflict, because the other person's going to feel your frustration and they're going to feel defensive. And you know exactly how this is probably going to end up, right? Sounds very familiar. So boundaries often is not as easy to express as we'd like it to be. But like I said earlier, it's only because you don't necessarily know what your boundaries are. We don't always recognize where that fine line within us is, where it says, okay, now I'm hitting my threshold. Now I'm hitting my limit. But it's not even just about recognizing within you where that radar, where that monitor is. It's also about knowing what type of boundaries you should have or perhaps have, but you're not consciously aware perhaps of naming them. You just feel uncomfortable with certain things are happening. And that's what I love about this workshop, because during this one-day workshop, I'm going to teach you and show you how to redefine what your boundaries are, what they should perhaps be for you personally, what it should feel like, where's that line, when does that threshold now going to start to become triggered, and how to recognize that. I'm sure you've noticed perhaps that, if you're struggling with poor boundaries, you're going to be finding yourself doing more than what you should for others. You give too much of your time, you give too much of your energy. You always feel tired and drained around people, even though you might not even have spoken to them. It's almost like you're just giving your energy to them. If you're an empath, it's going to be even harder. And if you are one, this course is especially for you, because did you know that the stronger your emotional, psychological boundaries are, the stronger your energetic boundaries are as well. You will start to feel less and less and less influenced by people's energy and also their emotions and their emotional states around you. Because even though you might not be taking a lot on, if someone is very angry, they're very stressed, you feel that. It is very dense energy, it's very intense, and it's hard not to feel that. It's hard not to get sucked into that. Now, that's what I love about having strong and clear boundaries, because that energetic boundary, that wall as well, will filter out this unnecessary energetic aspects and fragments of other people that's coming in as well.